So part of my baseline maintenance stuff is taking care of the radiator. So the way you do that is there's a plug right down here. I don't know if you can see my finger down there. Might be able to see it like in there. Again, I don't know how well you can see it, but that just, it's like a wing nut, but it's not. And then it is spinning out of two spots here. It's probably one, and it's probably bypassing where it's supposed to drain out, and that's why it's draining out of here. This is probably the location, the little hose thingy that releases from. So anyways, we're gonna... Okay, so one of the baseline maintenance things I do when I get one of these tractors is I try to check the axles and the spindles, and just to see what kind of surface they are, get out any of the old gunk, and you know, put new fresh grease in. So that's what we're doing here. And also I was trying to hammer this out, and it did go a little bit far, you know, like, you know, half inch or something like that, but then it stops, and I kept hammering it. So just be mindful, you do have to take this nut out, because the nut is in a little groove on this thing, on the spindle, so it sits in there to, you know, keep it there and stuff. So even if it's loose, it stays there as long as the nut's there, so, or the bolt's there, I should say. So we're going to take that off right now. So the baseline maintenance that I performed is what you see here with the front axles, was the radiator fluid. I did an oil change, I did transmission fluid change. I did initially replace the front tires because they needed them, and then later on I decided to put on rear tires as well. I got the lenses for the rear lights, and they actually both work. You'll see that a little bit later. Actually, I don't know if I have that in a video or not. Anyway, and the two of the headlights work out of the three, and then I got the grill, hood, and seat from the 318 that I had that was a parts 318. Everything else is in pretty good shape. There's no leaks. I did have to buy a fuel pump too. I think that was the extent of what I purchased so far for it. So, you know, the $300 tractor ended up probably being, quite a bit more than that, but still less than $1,000, which I didn't think was too bad. So, anyways, hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of the video, just kind of going through some of the things that I've done on it so far. Okay, so I despise putting the valve stem on the inside, but I have an upgrade on the tires that I will get to later, so I have to do it on the inside. So, you know, oh well. It's worth it though. So, I'll grease that axle up nice and good. Hey guys, so I just did the transmission fluid on this new 322, and this was the top of the belly screen, so it wasn't like terribly full of stuff, but you know, you got a piece of wood here, and you got bolts, hose clamp, another washer there, another washer here. Maybe I'll save these. And who knows what's in this. Alright folks, so I come out to the workshop a few times this past week, and I didn't really have time to explore, but this thing was leaking some fuel from there. I had the tank a little fuller than I had it, I guess, the week before or something, or the couple weeks before, and didn't really notice it, but I had replaced that now with a new bushing, or whatever you call those things, I guess, and I'm trying to empty the tank, so there was a big mess there. I put some in there, I put some more in the other 322 to get rid of the gas. There's still some gas in here, but I've been able to, you know, get it stopped up to where if I tilt it up, it doesn't doesn't come out. And the little girl's helping me today, so she's excited to help Daddy sometimes. So anyways, we'll keep up with the updates, but this is obviously, you know, cleaned up now in this little area, so not much dirt there, unfortunately, I guess. So anyways, it's what happens when you get a older tractor, you know, you just kind of got to go through it and fix the things as they come up. Some more updates on the Father's Day 322. I was taking these couplers off. Oops. Taking these couplers off, and I took the first one off, and then the next thing I know, something falls down, and it's this, which is not a piece that's supposed to fall down. That's because somehow it broke off of the second line up there. As you can see, that sign is, that line is severed. I guess it had been bent enough over time or something, over those massive 70 hours that this thing had run, I'm sure, and broken. So I do have an extra line from a 318, and I'm hoping it'll be a direct fit. I'm not sure that it will, but I'm hoping that it will. And then everything's stripped off the 318, so that'll be easy to get it off of there, but it might be difficult to get it back on the 322 or get this one off the 322. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. Hey folks, so we're working on the 322 again, the Father's Day 322, when this little girl wasn't even around. You were in
Mommy's tummy?
No, you were in Mommy's tummy. We just bought this tractor a couple weeks ago. Well, you were in the mountains, big girl, remember? On that Father's Day, not some other Father's Day. Yeah. So we're replacing the Chinesium fuel pump with the Japanese fuel pump. And then I say the Japanese fuel pump, that simply means that it's the OEM, because it is a Japanese engine. So we are, and the reason why we're doing that is because this was a travesty. I had to splice these and stick them in there, and there's actually the plug that it actually requires is actually a 3, so there's actually a third one that's supposed to be in there. Maybe this isn't that important, but it's important to me, just, you know, having these tractors, you know, not looking good. Well, looking good is nice too, but having them running correctly and stuff. So I prefer to have, you know, my stuff as squared away as possible. Where did I put that new pump? Oh, here it is. Is that bigger? Yeah, so that, see, that has the 3. Well, actually it's not 3, it's just the 2, but the plug in there. Anyway, it's not a big deal. So just make sure this is going the right direction. I guess it is. Out, in. Haha. Doesn't have arrows, it just has an out and an in. Alright, crazy girl. Now we need to get some clamps before we move on with this. So it's times like this I realize what an expert my children have become in so many things, where I'm doing something, I ask them to do something, they tell me no, that's not the right way to do it or whatever, and I'm thinking, what are you talking about? You don't even know what you're talking about. But they insist that they know things that they, you know, likely don't know. And sometimes they do know the things that they're telling me that they do know. So anyways, just kind of fun to work with her. And the other kids were like this too when they were a little bit younger, but now they're on to their own things oftentimes. So I don't always get the chance to have them so enthusiastically helping like Lilly is here. So, but we got this squared away. I had to kind of keep working on this issue because it just ended up being a bigger mess and a time suck than I thought it would be. And I don't know why she has the tape measure out measuring stuff. I don't know what we were doing with the tape measure. Clearly we weren't using the tape measure for the fuel system, but might have been something else that we were doing to, maybe we were measuring the length of the fuel lines. I don't know. I can't remember what the case was, but we're about to get it cranked up here, and you'll see that it runs. And I got to get still some little things worked out, but it's good if you know how to do this, huh?
It looks like a little pond in the blue plate.
Watch out.
Since it's water. But get it.
Yeah, it is filled up.
Wait.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get the creep out of this thing. Okay, folks, that says 71.9 hours. Okay, so this was sort of a point of contention before. Not sure that, you know, it really came with 69.5 hours, but the hour meter works. You know, there's no leaks from the power steering. It looks original. There's no leaks from the engine. There's no leaks from the transmission, radiator. I did have a hydraulic leak, but that's only because I didn't tighten it. I replaced all the couplers with older, well, not older than this one had, but older ones that I was able to clean up. I had some new ones too, but I think the older ones just look, it's weird to have like brand new couplers on there and on such an old tractor. So these actually cleaned up really nicely. Put the little plugs on them and also upgraded a hydraulic kit. Was going to switch the one over from that one, but it was such a bear to get that one on. I didn't want to get it off and then also have to install it on this one. And I will get into a comparison between the two. That is a stock Deere hydraulic kit. This is a auxiliary hydraulics rear hydraulic kit. I will not say any more other than I will compare the two later and give you my opinion on it. And then I'll get into this 3-point hitch setup and why I went with this setup. So I got cheap tires on the front just because it needed tires. If you saw the first video, then you know that I didn't have one tire that could hold air for 5 seconds. And the rear tires were fine, but they were only 22 inches tall. They were the 23 times, you know, 10.5, but they were actually only 22. So I got these 25 by 10s. As you can see, they compare to these 23 by 10.5s. They're actually both 10 inches, but they're legitimately as tall as what they say. Like that one on the first 322 are 23s on the TerraTracks, and then that's a TerraTrack that is 25. So I don't know if you can see, but the one sits a little taller than the other one. Just a hair. Like I said, it basically raised it 1.5 inches, going from 22s to 25s. And these are solid too. I did have to replace the hood because the hood was all ate up. The seat I got from that same 318 that the hood came from. Like I've done on a lot of my tractors, I added the toolbox. So I can put some gloves in there. I'll probably put a tape measure in there. I'm not sure why I have spark plugs, probably because I haven't switched the spark plugs out. Bungee cord, I'm not sure why that's there, but I like making the tractors useful. I know that hurts people's feelings sometimes when I cut up a, you know, a fender pan or something like that. Trying to think of anything else. I can't think of anything else. I do need to get the little red thing on that. But everything works. It works really good. I mean, for a $300 tractor, it's, I mean, of course, I've spent a little bit more now, but, you know, initially it was $300, and I don't think that's too bad. So we'll get it working, and more and more. Does this thing flip? Yeah, it is a flip seat. Okay, so it is like the other one. Anyway, well, if you like this video, you can hit the like button. I'd appreciate that. And it's probably something I left out, but if you wanted to hit the subscribe button and follow me along with these couple tractors here, the 1 Series, a couple John Deere 140s. I think I'm pretty close to this, you know, finishing this 140 over here. Of course, I've probably said that for about a year now, and I'm still not there. And then I just want to get this one running too because it has a loader on it. But anyways, if you want to follow along with these little tractor adventures, then you can hit the subscribe button. Well, I appreciate you watching if you made it this far, and you guys have a good night. Thanks. Bye.